There'd been a world war and a global flu pandemic. It was a critical time in history when, in 1921, 38 million people in England and Wales were asked to fill in the most detailed census yet, now made public. Everyone from royalty, here's King George V's entry, to the then Prime Minister David Lloyd George, and those who would achieve greatness in later years. So here we have it. There is Thomas More, your father, who many, many years down the line, he's only a year old there, would be a great global figure.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Just to look at this in black and white. It's quite amazing because we have been lucky enough to see our family history, but never like this. Imagine, could they have known that 100 years later, the world would know who he was?
1, 2.
For some, the decade may have gone down as the Roaring Twenties, but that was far from the case in 1921, with post-war economic hardship, unemployment and a lack of decent housing. Some couldn't resist defacing their census entries, with tax officer Arthur Vince imagining the elite counting what he called cannon fodder for the next war in 1936. His prediction was only 3 years out. Alice Underwood was blunt about the whole process. What a wicked waste of taxpayers' money, she wrote, at this time of unemployment. And gas fitter James Bartley complained, 5 persons living in one room, start building some houses and let them at a rent a working man can afford to pay.
We're seeing men record themselves as being out of work since the war on account of war injuries, on account of mental health concerns in the aftermath of the war. I believe there's one gentleman who recorded himself as ruined by the war, which is desperately sad.
The data collected in the 1921 census has taken on an extra significance because it is the last of its kind for the next 3 decades. The 1931 census was completely destroyed in a fire, and the 1941 census didn't take place because of the Second World War. It has taken 3 years to digitise the 30,000 volumes of data, but a century on, they have proved a goldmine of information, with some special appearances of those who would go on to take their place in history. Nina Nanar, News at 10.